Come on now, get up, dance, smile, rejoice, and be glad because what we thought was the end was only the beginning. Our story is not done and it's not over because we have taken back the pen and we are rewriting our story. So let's go ahead on, celebrate, dance, shout, rejoice, be glad, do whatever it is that you want to do that makes you feel good on today. Because again, what was thought, what was the end, was only the beginning. Breaking the cycle. Healing maternal trauma for generational growth and empowering daughters' individual journey. Maternal trauma can be defined as the psychological and emotional suffering experienced by mothers, usually due to experiences such as abuse, neglect, loss, or chronic stress. This trauma manifests itself in various forms, including PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and unresolved suffering. This trauma does not exist in isolation. Instead, it propagates through generations, adversely impacting the emotional scenario of the mother-child relationship. Maternal trauma is not simply the burden of an individual. It creates a ripple effect that reaches the next generation, particularly affecting daughters who are often seen as the main recipients of their mother's emotional legacies. The repercussions of unresolved maternal trauma in the daughters are deep and multifaceted. The daughters of traumatized mothers often find emotional agitation while sailing in their identities in the background of their mother's struggles. These daughters can internalize the negative beliefs and behaviors of their mothers, leading to issues such as low self-esteem, greater anxiety, and difficulties in establishing healthy relationships. Mothers' inability to process and cure their trauma can result in a cycle of emotional unavailability, where daughters feel without support in their own emotional needs. These dynamics chokes its development, usually leading to misadaptive coping strategies such as people-pleasing and self-sabotage. Consequently, unresolved maternal trauma obscures daughters' ability for individual growth and emotional health, influencing their trajectories as mothers in the future. Approaching maternal trauma is imperative to promote health and generational well-being. The healing journey for mothers is not only about self-improvement, but it also implies the creation of a nurturous environment for their daughters. When mothers take active measures towards healing, such as engaging in therapy, practicing self-compassion, and developing emotional awareness, they are open the way in ways to a healthier healing relationship dynamics. This healing process allows mothers to incorporate emotional resilience, allowing them to support the unique paths of their daughters without projecting their wounds onto them. The cure is about transformation, transforming itself and the relationship with children. Mothers facing their trauma encourages daughters to do the same, creating a family culture that values emotional health, vulnerability, and open communication. Moreover, the importance of supporting the individual paths of children cannot be underestimated. In a culture that usually values competition and comparison, it is crucial that mothers recognize that their daughters are distinct individuals with their aspirations and challenges. Mothers who encourage this individuality promote an atmosphere of freedom where daughters feel able to pursue their passion and define their independent identity of their mother's expectations. This dynamic of support not only improves the self-esteem of daughters, but also cultivate the respect and mutual understanding in the mother-daughter relationship. In short, the intergenerational impact of unresolved maternal trauma on daughters requires a critical examination and healing approach. Since mothers face their stories and prioritize emotional good, they interrupt the trauma cycle and establish the foundations for generational growth. By enabling daughters to pursue their own unique journey without competing against them, expectations, mothers promote a renewed sense of freedom and potential, marking a significant step towards family relationship and healthier resilience in future generations. Unresolved maternal trauma can deeply influence the behavior, mental health, and general well being of girls. Many girls who grow up in the shadow of their mother's unresolved trauma often present specific models of behavior reflecting emotional and psychological difficulties covering their family relationships. These girls can develop anxiety disorder, depression, and low self-esteem as adaptation mechanism for turbulence that accompanies maternal trauma. Current behavior includes self-isolation, chronic perfectionism, and increased sensitivity to criticism, all arising from a need to appease the emotional vulnerability of their mother. The inability to treat their mother's trauma can lead girls to internalize their mother's pain, promoting a distorted self-image that aligns their values with the heritage inherited from adversity. So being in the place and the position where you are unhealed, now you are passing down that unhealedness to your daughter, which in return causes you to criticize everything that she does and that she says, which also turns into competing against her or reliving your childhood through her. So because you always wanted to be a cheerleader, now you're forcing your daughter to be one and she doesn't want to. Because you always wanted to do this and that, you're forcing your daughter to do it when that's not what she wants to do. Because you didn't accomplish your dreams and your aspirations, you're forcing her to become what you want it to be. And it's unhealthy and it's unfair. You have to heal within. So that way in return, you are proud at every milestone that your daughter make instead of being jealous of the accomplishments that she have accomplished. Why are we in competition and comparing ourselves to our daughters? As a mother, as a parent, our job is to make sure and ensure that our child go further than us, do better than us, become better than us. Not that we begin to relive ourselves through them. And everything that they do, we criticize. Everything that we say to them is something negative because we have unresolved issues within ourselves. In addition, the intergenerational cycle of trauma creates a composition effect, which has repercussions by relations. Girls often find themselves reflecting the unresolved problems of their mothers, which can manifest themselves as simple, similar models of emotional deregulation, relational dysfunction, and adaptive strategies. They frequently adapt the fears and anxieties of their mothers, thus reoccurring in a cycle where trauma becomes a shared family story. The shared anxiety can distort their perception of themselves and others, resulting in distrust, the fear of intimacy, and the difficulty of establishing healthy relationships. So now it becomes a never ending cycle of I couldn't trust my mom, so now I can't trust anybody else. We are the first example and model of what a woman, a prideful, a strong-headed, independent woman is. And when we don't have it together, now we are transcending that down to our daughters. So everything that they look at in the world is just chaotic, it's distrust, it's misinformed, it's confusion. Everything is just distorted. And now we wonder why there is no real sisterly love and sister bond and women empowerment, because it hasn't been taught. What we know is we always got to be in competition with the next woman. That's what we have taught our daughters when we are in competition with them. How to always be in competition with the next female instead of being intact and suitable within our own self, cheering our own self on, which gives us the ability to cheer another sister on. Girls can also project the burden of their mother's past trauma over their own relationships, inadvertently sabotaging opportunities for authentic ties and emotional growth. One of the most convincing aspects of unresolved maternal trauma is the way in which it can format a competitive dynamic rather than a favorable between mothers and girls. When a mother has not dealt with her own adversities, she can unconsciously or consciously consider her daughter as an extension of herself rather than a person with aspirations, talents, and distinct challenges. Therefore, this leads to a desire for competition rather than support. My. Mothers tend to relive their lives through their daughters, pushing them towards achievement that resonate with their own unsatisfied desires. Instead of promoting an environment of encouragement, this competition generates resentment and discord, alienating the daughter of the mother while suffocating her individuality. So we have to get to a place where we can cheer them on. Even if we have what it would be like, we have our dreams for them and we have things that we would love to see them pursue. Or we have this idea of what it is that they will be good at and that they will excel in. But you have to draw that line and understanding that's just because this is my desire for them, that does not mean that that is her desire for herself. So you have to get to the place where you are being that role model and that support system, and you're pushing her to her goals, to her dreams, to what it is that she's passionate about, not what you're passionate about, because it's not about you. One thing that I've learned being a counselor is that it's not about me. It's not about my thoughts. It's not about my opinion, but it's about what's best for my client. What is my client's thoughts? What is my client's opinion? What is my client's belief? It's not about me. It's about helping them become the best version of themselves. So it's the same. It's not about you, mom. It's about the helping your daughter become the best version of herself, not the best version of you. I've talked to countless teens and young adults, and it's the same thing over and over where they state what it is that they want to do and what they want to pursue and what they want to become and how they want to do things. And all they ever get from their mom is negative, 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 negative. No, you shouldn't because. No, you can't because. No, I think you should. I think you would be good. It's not about you. It's about them and helping them to grow and develop their own mind, their own thinking process, their own identity, their own goals, their own dreams, their own happiness. Because in the end, when they are happy and are their authentic self and they have reached their goal and is successful, guess what? At the end of the day, it falls back on your upbringing with them. It shows how you pushed them. It shows how you were there to support them and encourage them. And you were there for them when they fell. You were there to pick them up. But you can't do that when you're not healed. You can't do that when you're not whole. You can't do that when you haven't found happiness within your own self. So now everything she does is jealousy, it's animosity, it's anger because it wasn't you. Get out of your own way, get out of your own self, and become that mother that she desperately needs. Become that example of how a woman should carry herself. Because the world will not be kind to our daughters. So our role is to be healed, is to be whole, in promoting freedom and individuality in our daughters is deep, and that's multifaceted. When a mother embarked on a healing trip, she is generally more emotional available and capable of supporting the unique aspirations and identity of her daughter. This emotional availability allows healthy attachment styles and secure relationships, which promote a feeling of security and belonging. So you have to get healed so that way you can support your child. The meaning of maternal healing extends beyond the self. It has a training effect which can empower generations. Meaning you can empower your daughter. Your daughter will empower her child. That child will empower that child. Generations. The healing process allows mothers the information and tools necessary to promote an environment where their daughters can explore and embrace their individuality, not worrying about having to be compared to their mom, or their mom is comparing themselves to their daughter, or being in competition. Get it together. Heal. Heal within. And it's never too late. You can still start now and heal. Be healed. Be whole. Be set free from your past trauma. So that way you're not deflecting that trauma onto your child. You have to heal and you have to become whole. Talk to someone. Get it out and begin to rewrite your own story. So that way you're not trying to write your daughter's story. You have your story, she has her story. Your job is to protect, provide, support, encourage, cover, and push your child. And love them unconditionally. Not love them when it's convenient for you. They're not going to do everything that you agree with. But again, it's not about you. So whether you agree or disagree or indifferent, it doesn't matter. Support their dreams. Support their aspirations. Support their goals. Show them how to be strong. Show them how to be independent. Show them that it's okay to be vulnerable at the right time with the right person. You have to lead by example. But you can't do that until you become whole yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Rewriting My Story. If you could be so kind to follow, I'm on all podcast platforms. Hit that follow button, leave a comment, leave some encouraging words, or you can even leave a discussion topic that you would like for me to cover. All right, thank you again for your support. It